Oprah. Dwayne, thank you for being here today and thank you to everyone in the audience. I want to start by talking about your father. He was very strict. But here's the thing. You've gone one-on-one with some fierce competitors in the ring, right? Yet now you're facing one of the scariest situations any man can face, raising 3 daughters. Yes, that's pretty terrifying. So the question is, are you a strict dad? Johnson. Honestly, I'm not super strict, but discipline matters. Still, I have to look back at how my father handled things. He loved me in the limited way he was capable of. I learned from that, both the good and the gaps. So with my daughters, I want to give them love fully and be completely present. That's what I've been trying to do. Oprah, what do you want to make sure they get that you didn't get? It's so interesting, I've seen this with so many people. You didn't get what you needed because your parents simply didn't have the capacity to give it. Then as an adult, you have to learn to give that to yourself first so you can give it to your children without passing on the same wounds. Johnson. I want my daughters to know that I love them unconditionally, truly, without any strings attached. I have 3 daughters. My oldest, Simone Jasmine, is 18. My youngest, Tiana, just turned 4 and there's another one about to turn 2. I tell my 18-year-old every single day, I say, I love you, out loud. I text it, I say it in person. I'm one of those people who says it. Because I didn't hear that growing up. And I also tell her, I love you with no expectation. You don't even have to text me back. It's fine if you do, but you don't have to, it's unconditional. Oprah. Besides love, what else do you want to teach them? Johnson. I want them to understand the value of hard work. Even more importantly, I want to teach them how important kindness is. That matters more than anything. Oprah. I remember your father used to make you watch him train. He said, if I'm getting up at 6 in the morning, you're getting up too. What do you think you got most from him? Was it that work ethic? Johnson. Absolutely. My father was a man who made it against all odds. He'd get up at 5:30 in the morning and say, if I'm up, you're getting up too. He'd drag me to the gym, and by the way, I was 5 years old. I didn't actually work out, but he made sure I was there with him. That was our time together. From him, I got my work ethic. He always told me, no matter what you do in life or where you go, respect isn't given for free. You have to earn it every single day. Oprah, your father taught you a lot. What have your daughters taught you? Johnson. They've taught me to be more caring, more sensitive, and more selfless. Oprah. Were you there when each of them was born? Johnson. Right there, yes. That is the greatest thing I've ever experienced in my life. It also gave me a profound respect for their mothers. I've had 2 relationships, one with my ex-wife, and now I'm happily married to Lauren, who's here today. We've known each other for 13 years. When a man meets the right woman, you want to get married. My first marriage didn't work out, but the birth of a child shifts your entire perspective. It gave me a new, deep respect for their moms. Oprah. The marriage didn't work out, but she became your business partner? Johnson. Yes, she did and still is. The split wasn't ugly, it just wasn't meant to be as a marriage. We stayed great friends. And we both had an appetite for business and achieving things. We thought, why not keep working together? And we made it happen. Oprah. You didn't grow up with much money. I read the story about the eviction notice when you were about 15. That made a big impression on you, didn't it? Johnson. It did. I'm now one of the highest paid actors in the world, and I've been named sexiest man alive and all that. Those titles are nice for the ego, sure, but the better question is, how do you keep your ego in check when all of that is happening? Oprah. Do you have anyone around you who can tell you the truth? Johnson. Yes, my wife Lauren. She'll tell it to me straight. But here's the tricky part about being in this position. You want people around you who are inspired and share your vision, but you also need people who'll say, I'm not sure that's the right move. Look, I've had a wonderful career, especially coming from where I came. I'm deeply grateful for where I am. I never take anything for granted. Oprah, aren't you glad you went through that eviction? Doesn't it give you an appreciation for what you have now? Johnson, it gives me so much perspective. When I was 14, we lived in Hawaii in a tiny efficiency apartment, my mom and I. I came home from school one day and there was an eviction notice on the door, the final one. My mom started crying. I never forgot that moment. It was a turning point. I told myself I never wanted to be in that position again. At 14, I thought about my heroes, Muhammad Ali, professional wrestlers, all men who worked hard with their hands and built their bodies. I said, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build my body so we never get evicted again. Being evicted didn't just give me perspective, it gave me gratitude. And honestly, I still feel it. We're 1 month away from being evicted, I've got to go to work. That's still in my head. Keeps me grounded. Those most this, most that titles are great, but I remember the alternative. And it doesn't change who I am, I still save toast. I don't like throwing food away because we had to save everything growing up. Oprah, so now you have big paychecks, fame, everything you didn't have. How do you raise kids who are sensible and kind when they have everything? Part of what made you who you are is that eviction notice and not having everything. How do you do that with your children? Johnson, with our 18-year-old, we share those stories about being evicted, about her mom's parents being Cuban immigrants. We keep things as simple as we can. We have a farm in Virginia, and we moved to a quiet place about 30 to 45 minutes from Atlanta. We make sure to instill the value of money, the value of food, and always say what we're grateful for, especially at a young age. Oprah, how is success different from what you imagined? Johnson, as a kid I had a gut feeling that the world would hear from me, but I never imagined it would be at this level. Sometimes I walk around like a big kid, like I'm in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, just in awe of everything happening around me. Oprah, what was the first thing you splurged on when you realized you had enough? Johnson, when I was 13 or 14 I thought success meant a Rolex watch with diamonds. So in 1999 when I finally had a little money, I was still living in a monthly rent apartment. I bought one. I wore it to the ring during an interview and a melee broke out. One wrestler fell on it, it came off and broke, live on TV. I was heartbroken. That night I thought, this is a sign. I don't need this. It wasn't right for me at that time. I never bought anything like that again. Now I splurge carefully, mostly on real estate. I love property. I have a few pickup trucks, that's it. Oprah, I remember at WrestleMania 13 when you were still called Rocky and 16,000 fans were chanting Rocky sucks. You used that moment to turn everything around. How did you do it? Johnson, that was a turning point. Early on they made me use the name Rocky, out of respect for my dad and grandfather, but I hated it. I wanted to make my own way. They also told me to smile big because I was a good guy character, a rookie. But it never felt right. At WrestleMania 13 in Chicago, 16,000 people chanted Rocky sucks. I lay there in the ring and the referee told me not to listen. But it was devastating. Management thought it wasn't working. So I asked for 1 minute of live TV time. Let me just be myself. Let me not smile if I don't want to, laugh if I want, say what I want. Vince McMahon said, you got it. I grabbed the mic and said, I may be a lot of things but, sucks, isn't one of them. I basically said it's about being myself. That was the shift. I never looked back and I became the biggest draw the business ever saw. Oprah, you said earlier that the most powerful thing you can ever do is to be yourself. But that's easier said than done. Johnson, I struggled for a long time figuring out who I was. When I first got to Hollywood in the early 2000s they told me, don't talk about wrestling, don't go to the gym so much, don't raise your eyebrow. I bought into it for years. Looking back at my early films they were okay but they weren't really me. Eventually I left my agency and decided, my name is The Rock, I come from wrestling, I look and talk this way, I love to work out. That's who I am. And here I am today. For those who said they didn't get it, sweet revenge. Oprah, you posted on Instagram in November, joy and hope cost nothing. Remember that? And yet it's the most powerful gift we can give. After everything you've been through, especially this past week, what are you most grateful for today? Johnson, I'm most grateful for life, for opportunity, for my family. Gratitude is my anchor. I wake up with a full heart. Even in loss, even when things don't go right, even though I didn't make it to the NFL, that was the best thing that never happened because it gave me gratitude to be here. Oprah and everyone here, I was so excited to come and share my story and whatever wisdom I've learned. Especially this week, having laid my dad to rest, I needed this. I needed this love in this room. When you have 1,000, 12, 1,500 people all with one intention, to be better, to give love and receive love. That's powerful. Thank you for being here. I'm not a super strict dad, but I do believe in discipline. That came from my old man. He loved me the only way he knew how, and I took that lesson, both what to do and what not to do. So with my 3 girls, I pour out all the love I have. I'm present. I'm there. Every single day I tell my 18-year-old Simone, I love you. Out loud. In text. I don't care if she texts back, that's not the point. Love without conditions. That's what I want them to know. My father taught me the value of work. He'd get up at 5 in the morning and drag my 5-year-old butt to the gym. I didn't even train, I just sat there, but that was our time. And he drilled one thing into me, respect is never given freely. You earn it every single day no matter where you go. But my daughters? They taught me something else. They made me softer, more caring, more selfless. I was there when each of them was born, right in the room. That moment is the greatest thing I've ever lived through. It shifted my entire perspective and gave me a deep respect for their mothers. My first marriage didn't work out, but we stayed friends, and more than that, we became business partners. The marriage wasn't meant to be, but we both had a hunger to build something. So we did. And it worked. Growing up, we didn't have much. When I was 14, I came home from school in Hawaii, and there it was, an eviction notice on the door. The final one. My mom broke down crying. I'll never forget that. Right then I told myself, never again. I looked at my heroes, Muhammad Ali, the wrestlers. They were all men who built their bodies with their own two hands. So I decided I'd do the same. I'd work so hard that we'd never see another eviction notice. That memory still drives me. Even now, with all the success, I sometimes think, we're 1 month away from being evicted, I've got to go to work. It keeps me humble. And I still save leftover toast. I can't throw food away, that's just how I was raised. When I finally had money, I made a rookie mistake. I bought a Rolex because I thought every successful man had one. Wore it to a wrestling interview, a fight broke out on live TV, and the watch got crushed. I was heartbroken, but that night I realized it was a sign. I didn't need that stuff. Now I splurge on real estate and a few pickup trucks. Land is smart, they're not making more of it. But the real turning point came when I was booed out of the arena. WrestleMania 13, Chicago, 16,000 people chanting "Rocky sucks." I was supposed to be the good guy, the smiling rookie. But they hated me. Lying in that ring, I heard every word. Management said it wasn't working. So I asked for 1 minute of live TV, to just be myself. No forced smile. No fake character. Just me. They gave me the microphone and I said, I may be a lot of things, but sucks isn't one of them. I told them I was going to be authentic. Laugh if I feel like it, get serious if I want, whatever comes naturally. That moment changed everything. I stopped trying to be what others wanted and started being who I really am. And I never looked back. That same lesson followed me to Hollywood. Early on, they told me to hide my wrestling background, stop working out so much, drop the eyebrow raise. And I listened, for years. My early movies were fine, but they weren't me. Eventually I left that agency and said, my name is The Rock. I come from wrestling. I look and talk this way and I love to train. Take it or leave it. That was the sweetest revenge when the success came rolling in. One thing I've learned, being yourself is the most powerful thing you can do. It sounds simple, but it's not. It took me years to figure out. And once I did, everything clicked. I also want to share something about gratitude. I posted once that joy and hope cost nothing, and they give back everything. This past week, I laid my father to rest and I came to this conversation needing something. I needed connection. I needed love. And walking into a room full of people who all want to be better, to give and receive love. That's powerful. That's what matters. I'm grateful for life, for my family, for the journey. The eviction notice, the booze, the broken Rolex, they all shaped me. And I wouldn't trade any of it. When Dwayne Johnson sat down with Oprah, he didn't just tell stories, he handed out a masterclass in resilience, identity, and gratitude. From a teenager facing eviction to becoming one of the most recognizable faces on the planet, his journey holds truths that resonate far beyond the wrestling ring or the Hollywood screen. Here are the core takeaways. 1. Love doesn't come with receipts. Johnson grew up with a father who gave love in the only way he knew how, limited but real. Instead of repeating that pattern, Johnson chose to flood his own daughters with unconditional affection. He tells his 18-year-old, I love you, every single day and adds, you don't have to text back. That's not indifference, it's freedom. His message, love isn't transactional. It's not about what you get in return, it's about what you give without counting. 2. Respect is rented, not owned. His father taught him that no one owes you respect, you have to earn it daily. That lesson stuck. Whether in the gym at 5 years old or in boardrooms decades later, Johnson never assumed his status would carry him. He works like he's still 1 month away from eviction, because that mindset keeps him grounded and hungry. 3. Your lowest moment can become your launch pad. At 14, Johnson came home to an eviction notice and his mother's tears. That image seared into his brain. Instead of letting it break him, he used it as fuel. He decided to build his body, just like his heroes, so that his family would never be in that position again. That single decision set him on a path that would eventually make him a global icon. 4. Be yourself, even when it costs you. Early in his wrestling career, he was told to smile, to be a good guy, to use the name Rocky out of family respect. But the crowd rejected him, 16,000 people chanting Rocky sucks. That humiliating moment forced him to ask for 1 minute of airtime to just be himself. No fake grin, no script. He said, I may be a lot of things, but sucks isn't one of them. That authenticity clicked with audiences and turned his career around. The lesson: fitting in is overrated, standing out requires you to own who you truly are. 5. Failure isn't the end, it's a redirect. He wanted to play in the NFL, didn't make it. He admits that not making it was the best thing that never happened because it pushed him toward wrestling, then acting, then producing. Every closed door pointed him to a better one. He didn't dwell on rejection, he pivoted. 6. Gratitude is your anchor. Even with all his wealth and fame, Johnson still saves toast. It sounds trivial, but it speaks to a deeper habit: never forgetting where you came from. He says gratitude is his anchor. It keeps him steady when praise is loud and when criticism stings. He wakes up each morning with a heart full of thanks for life, for family, for the chance to make people feel good. 7. Your legacy is built on how you make others feel. For Johnson, the purest intention behind every project, movies, tequila, fitness, is to create experiences that bring joy. He learned that early, wrestling in flea markets and used car lots, where the goal was simply to send the audience home happy. That principle never changed. He believes if you're in a position to lift someone up, that's a privilege and a responsibility. Final thought: Johnson's story isn't about luck, it's about choices. Choosing love over resentment. Choosing authenticity over approval. Choosing gratitude over entitlement. He didn't become The Rock because he was born with a silver spoon. He became The Rock because he refused to stay down when life knocked him over. And that, perhaps, is the most relatable lesson of all.